Chapter 21 The difference between magic and fighting spirit. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 21 The difference between magic and fighting spirit. Level 2 extraordinary units refer to intermediate knights, intermediate magicians, or level 2 monsters. At this moment and here, Luo Ning happens to have an intermediate magician in his hands, which is a real second-level extraordinary unit. If he kills the opponent with his own hands, he can immediately complete the advanced achievement of King of Slaughter. Luo Ning thought for a while and walked towards McCann. How is this magician? Is he still honest? McCann chuckled. I struggled at first, but after being tied up, I can't even think about being dishonest. At this moment, the magician's hands and feet have been tied tightly. There is a guard standing next to him with a sword on his neck. If he twists his body a little violently, he may lose a piece of flesh. Luo Ning squatted a few steps away from the other party. What's your name? The magician ignored Luo Ning's words. Answer me honestly, and maybe I can consider letting you live. After hearing this, the magician looked at Luo Ning seriously. Young man from the Wushan family, will you really let me go? Oh. You recognize me? I still recognize the golden mountains carved on the carriage. If my guess is correct, you should be Luo Ning, the good-for-nothing eldest son of that good-for-nothing Count Wiggins, right? Be honest. McCann slapped the other person's face with his long sword, indicating that the other person should speak politely. Luo Ning raised the corners of his mouth. He didn't expect Wiggins' reputation outside to be so bad that any assassin would dare to call him a loser. Yes, I am Luo Ning. He said, you and I have no grudges, and I also like to communicate with magicians. Now, Mr. Magician, you just need to answer my questions well, and I can consider letting you go. Humph, how much can you trust the noble's words? The magician said disdainfully. He changed the topic again, but I'd like to hear what you want to ask. I see that you just performed magic without any special movements. Doesn't a magician need to chant and recite magic spells when using spells? Chant. Magic spell. The magician laughed as if he heard something ridiculous. They say that the eldest grandson of the Wushan family is as stupid as his father. I didn't believe it at first, but now I do. With so many resources of the Marquis, you don't even know what a magician or a magician is. Didn't your teacher teach you the difference between a knight and a magician? Luo Ning was a little embarrassed. He really didn't have these memories in his mind. I don't know if it's because no one taught me, or because my predecessor didn't learn it. Then please tell me. Luo Ning said. The magician suddenly laughed wildly. I like to see you nobles whispering requests, but unfortunately, I don't bother to communicate with nobles, let alone stupid people. After saying this, he fell silent. Luo Ning's face darkened, and he went up and gave the opponent a kick, which directly broke his nose and caused blood to flow out and cover his face. Say or not, the other party still didn't reply. Luo Ning was too lazy to do anything and gave McCann a look. The latter understood, squatted down and held the opponent's palm fiercely. With a crunching sound, the metacarpal bones were crushed, and the magician let out a heartrending cry. Scream. This scene made the surrounding guards tremble. They didn't expect that the Baron would be such a cruel person. In fact, Luo Ning didn't want to either. He also wanted to be a good gentleman, but the other party didn't allow him. After a lot of trouble from McCann, perhaps because he couldn't bear the heartbreaking pain, the magician finally spoke. The magician's name is Pedro. He joined the Skull and Bones Society in order to earn a lot of gold coins. He is currently an investigator of the Skull and Bones Society. The so-called inspectors can be understood as informal employees. They can become formal employees only after taking on a sufficient number of tasks and completing them. Just like this time, the assassination of the heir and the young lady of the Green family was a task received from above. However, when Luo Ning asked about the employer information for this mission, Pedro said that the investigators did not have access to such information. Luo Ning doubted whether what the other party said was true or false. After all, the killer knew everything. Of course, these are not important. He is more concerned about fighting skills and magic. After Pedro's introduction, he had a certain understanding. To put it simply, fighting skills use the knight's own energy, which is fighting spirit, magic is based on one's own spiritual power and mana, mobilizing the power of elements between heaven and earth. Compared with the two professions, becoming a knight is relatively simple, but in terms of fighting skills and the power of magic, the latter is more powerful, wider in scope, and more effective. As for combat power, it is not easy to compare if you are at the same level. You may be killed by the opponent. It mainly depends on your experience. After Pedro's introduction, Luo Ning had a preliminary understanding of magicians casting spells. To cast a spell, you need to use the magician's spiritual power and mana as a guide to draw the spell pattern corresponding to each spell. When the spell lines are carved, the elements of heaven and earth will accept the magician's orders. At this time, the magician can use mental power to control these heaven and earth elements to form spells, and finally cast them. There were no chance or magic spells that Luo Ning thought. When the magician has enough magic power, he only needs to be familiar with it and be able to use mental power and mana to draw the spell lines according to the correct nodes and lines, and then he can basically cast the spell. Luo Ning finally understood that the patterns on the parchment represented the spell patterns of each spell. What about this? Luo Ning took out the piece of semi-finished parchment. What is this semi-finished product? This is a spell scroll. Pedro's voice was hollow. A magician with stable mental power can engrave spell patterns on the fur of a monster. When needed, he only needs to use mana or fighting spirit to draw the spell, and then he can use the scroll to cast spells quickly. Magic scrolls are very rare. A second-level wind blade technique scroll can probably be sold for more than a dozen gold coins. The scroll and the space ring that signed the contract with the Warcraft can also be regarded as one of the spell scrolls, and its value is extremely expensive. Suddenly, Luo Ning had an idea. When he is strong enough, will he be able to make more contract scrolls based on the contract scroll in his hand? Ever since, he became more and more interested in how to make spell scrolls. Can you make spell scrolls? That he thought about whether he could capture Pedro back to his territory. The other party would be responsible for making the scrolls, and he would be responsible for selling them. Who would have thought that? Pedro shook his head. My mental power output is not very stable. I often make mistakes when drawing spell patterns and I can't do it. Oh. Luo Ning looked at the semi-finished product in his hand and estimated that it was the scrap left behind when the other party's production failed. He turned over the piece of leather on his hand and realized that it was not sheepskin. What are the materials used to make spell scrolls? You have too many questions. As soon as he finished speaking, Maken struck his broken palm, causing the magician to scream. Maken, be gentle. Luo Ning reminded. Okay sir, I will pay attention. After waiting for a long time, Pedro said feebly. Use the skin of a certain level of magic beast for any scroll. To carve the spell lines, use the blood of the magic beast and mix it with magic core powder or magic crystal powder. But, making spell scrolls has very high requirements for magicians. The magician's mental power and mana output must be very stable and balanced, and at the same time, he must have absolute concentration. After saying this, Pedro gasped. The magician's physique was not strong to begin with. After being tortured like this by Maken, Pedro had already had enough of this heartbreaking pain. Give me a good time. That he knew that there was a high probability that the noble in front of him would not let him go. Okay. Luo Ning stood up and drew his sword. He never thought about letting the other party go. After all, the other party was an assassin who dared to kill for money. He had no way to guarantee that after letting the other party go, the other party would not kill him in turn. In addition, letting the other party go would be difficult to explain to the Green family. But having said that, for a moment, Luo Ning did think that such talents could not be used by him, but after thinking about it, he decided to let it go. Luo Ning didn't think that he had such a domineering spirit. As long as he exuded it a little bit, he would let others show their loyalty. A killer like Pedro is difficult to control. Thank you for your guidance, Mr. Pedro. Maybe one day I will become a great mage. At that time, I will still thank you for enlightening me. Chi. The long sword slashed across, ending the magician's life. New. Chapter 22 Counting the Spoils. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 22 Counting the Trophies. Beside the campfire, Ronan was counting the belongings of Pedro the magician. Diamond suit. In addition to the 4 pieces of parchment, the small black bag contained 3 gold, 57 silver, and 25 2 gold, 18 silver, and 153 copper coins that were recovered from the bodies of the 2 killed knights. Luo Ning's financial gains were still considerable. Oh, by the way, the armors on the 2 knights were also pulled off by Luo Ning and used for his own use. The 2 sets of full-body armor were not of high quality, but not bad either. I estimate that they cost 30 gold coins. 2 sets are 60 gold coins. Unfortunately, Luo Ning's body shape was not suitable, so he could only award 1 set to McCann and keep the remaining set as a spare. When he put away this suit of armor, he was so envious of the Green family knight Kane that he almost drooled. Unfortunately, since Luo Ning had saved their lives and was from the Wushan family, Kane could only look at him blankly. In fact, Luo Ning also wanted to collect the intermediate knight's equipment from the Green family warrior, but after thinking about it, he decided not to do it. He is a kind-hearted person and cannot do such extreme things. In addition to these obvious trophies, Pedro also had a fine quill pen. Actually, I don't know if it was a goose feather, 3 small crystal bottles, and a purple spar the size of a thumb. Luo Ning opened the bottle cap, and there was a fishy smell coming from inside. He looked carefully and saw that there seemed to be a little crystal substance in the liquid inside. These 3 bottles should contain the blood of Warcraft that Pedro used to make the spell scroll, right? Pedro said before that if you want to make a spell scroll, you need to use the blood of monsters mixed with magic core powder or magic crystal powder. This small bottle of materials is probably worth a lot of money. Finally, Luo Ning looked at the purple crystal, and his mood fluctuated violently for a while. This can't be a magic crystal, right? A magic crystal is worth hundreds of gold coins. If this thing were a magic crystal, Luo Ning would make a fortune. Unfortunately, he didn't find any images of the magic crystal from his predecessor's memory, so he couldn't make a judgment. As for asking the Green siblings, Luo Ning would never do such a stupid thing. What if the other party wants to share some with him? Keep it for now, we'll figure it out one day. Luo Ning put all the loot into the space ring. This time he rescued people and gained a lot. Sure enough, extraordinary people are rich. A robbery, oh no, a rescue can bring such a huge harvest. It is really satisfying both physically and mentally. Therefore, people still need a sense of justice sometimes. Just like Luo Ning, he laughed happily for a while, then calmed down and started to do business. He took the parchment of Qin Feng and studied it carefully. It clearly depicts the spell pattern of this spell, and also marks the order of each node when using mental power to draw the pattern. I see. Luo Ning memorized the spell pattern of Qin Feng technique in his mind, and then put the parchment into the space ring. You can think of the spell lines as the Big Dipper connected by lines. What I have to do is start from the first star of the Big Dipper, use my mental power to draw the magic power to point out the stars, and then connect them. If the starting position is wrong, the spoon shape cannot be formed, and the spell pattern will collapse. The spiritual mana lines connecting the nodes are curved, which does not match the straight lines in the spell lines of Qin Feng technique, and it will not work. Only when it is drawn in one go, and the node order, lines, etc. are completely correct, can the spell be released. After figuring this out, Luo Ning spread out his hands and tried for the first time to use his mental power to draw his magic power to carve the spell lines of Qin Feng technique on his palms. He thought he was quite talented, but after several attempts, he failed to successfully use mana to condense the spell nodes of the spell pattern, leading to continuous collapse, but he is not in a hurry. Learning magic is not like learning swordsmanship from McCann. This is an area he has never been exposed to. Failure is understandable and acceptable. The reason for this failure is that the first node was drawn too hastily and not enough mana was used to maintain it. This failure was due to insufficient concentration of thinking, which resulted in a breakpoint in the spell lines from the second node to the third node. This failure. Luo Ning failed again and again, tried again, and finally after more than a dozen failures, complete lines of the Qin Feng spell appeared on his palm. Immediately afterwards, the spell lines flickered for a moment, and then a breeze emerged from Luo Ning's palm and blew forward. At this moment, Luo Ning realized that the consumption of mana was several times that of carving the spell lines, but, finally it worked. Luo Ning smiled happily. Ah! A low cry interrupted Luo Ning's concentration. He raised his head and looked forward, only to see Miss Marina of the Green family holding down the hem of her skirt with both hands to avoid the embarrassment of being blown up by the wind. Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Luo Ning. Marina's face turned even redder due to the bonfire. The wind is a bit strong. Luo Ning touched his nose. It seemed that the other party did not realize that he had used magic. It is true that Qingfeng technique is not as conspicuous as wind blade technique. Good evening, Miss Marina, why are you out? Just after dinner, Luo Ning got together with the Green family's siblings and had a brief contact. I can't sleep. Marina walked over with her skirt in hand and sat down next to Ronan. The breeze blew, and Luo Ning smelled a faint scent of perfume. He sniffed twice, but couldn't tell what material the perfume was made of. After the thrill of the afternoon, it's normal to not be able to sleep. Luo Ning comforted, but everything is over. I will let my team escort you to Hushang town tomorrow. Thank you so much, Mr. Luo Ning. Not sure if it was because of excitement or something else, Marina grabbed Luo Ning's arm and pressed half of her body against it. Luo Ning touched a soft mass. You know, from this afternoon till now, the image of you riding a horse to kill the assassin has been in my mind. I don't think I will be able to forget it in my life. Luo Ning. Are all girls from other worlds so direct? He dared to believe that even if he pulled Marina into his arms and kissed her, or even brought her to his tent to spend the night, she would not resist, and maybe the other party would be more proactive, but, well, Ronan admits that he still has a bit of an appearance bond, and he's not crazy about Marina. Moreover, after midnight, he still needs to meet his light magician, which is much more important than having sex with a woman. The most important thing is that Luo Ning is the one who wants to become the Great Lord. Why did he do it before he even started? Ahem. Luo Ning calmly pulled out his arm, and then stood up. Miss Marina, it's windy outside. Go back and rest quickly. I still want to practice my sword, so I won't accompany you for now. As he spoke, he walked aside and began to swing his sword. Marina was not angry after being rejected. Instead, she looked at the man practicing the sword with a smile. She had heard about Luo Ning, and they were all bad rumors. Even the young lady from the Hyde family committed suicide because she slept with Luo Ning by mistake, but when they met today, not only her, but also her brother Malik and Kane felt that Luo Ning was completely different from the rumors. This is clearly a courageous, powerful, and handsome man. The face under the silver hair became even more attractive under the light of the fire. It would be great if I could sleep with Ronan in my arms. Marina thought in her heart. The Kane Knight was watching the training of McCann and others not far away. He didn't feel the meaning and value behind this kind of training, but subconsciously thought that this was a new dance invented by the grandson of the Marquis who knew how to play. It is really rare to see a dance performance composed entirely of men. Could this be the unique hobby of the legendary Baron Ronan? But not to mention, when this group of guards chanted slogans together, it was quite impressive and attractive. Chapter 23 Elronfaol. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 23 Elronfaol. Sister, why do you look a little angry? As soon as Marina returned to the carriage, she was questioned by her younger brother. She couldn't help but puff out her lips and said angrily, Luo Ning is not a gentleman at all. He didn't even let me enter his tent to rest. Young Malik looked around. Although the space in the carriage was not as spacious as the tent, it could still accommodate his siblings to lie down and rest, but soon, as the heir of the Green family, Malik understood what his sister meant, and he couldn't help but laugh. Sister, Luo Ning was deprived of his inheritance due to Selena's death 2 days ago. How dare you enter his tent? Could it be that you have read too many night novels about heroes saving beauties, and you want to sleep with him? Snort. Marina snorted unhappily. Isn't it possible? Malik couldn't help but remind him, Sister, don't forget that you are married to Jamie from Viscount Dennis's family. It's okay to have relationships with classmates from the college, but don't get into Luo Ning's bed, otherwise it may happen later. There will be trouble. I know, you are the only one who talks a lot. Marina rolled her eyes. Jamie, that damn fat guy, I want to puke when I see those damn fish eyes of his. Malik also rolled his eyes. Who was the fat man talking about? He raised the window and looked at the night outside. I am very grateful to Baron Ronan for saving me this time. It's just that I heard from my classmates that he was deprived of his inheritance rights, had his surname changed, and was deported to a remote mountain town. I'm afraid his life will be difficult in the future. At the same time, Luo Ning was lying on the carpet in the tent, grinning while enjoying Chahar's massage. He had been practicing sword practice for the past few hours, and now his muscles were very sore. It's not that he suddenly became so active, he just wanted to use his sword practice to avoid Marina's approach, but who would have thought that this girl would just stare at him for more than 3 hours without leaving? In the end, Luo Ning couldn't practice any more and wanted to get into the tent while the other party wasn't paying attention. Unexpectedly, the other party followed him and said he wanted to come in and sit together. Look at Marina's attitude of not leaving as long as she comes in and sits down. How dare Luo Ning let her in? He has no sexual interest in her, not to mention he has something to do at night. In the end, Luo Ning could only refuse directly, and then the other party said that he was not a gentleman enough. Okay Chahar, you should go down and rest. Luo Ning felt that the soreness and swelling all over his body had reduced a lot, so he asked Chahar to stop. Your technique is good, I feel much better. Chahar stood up respectfully and said, Good night, sir. I will rest outside. If you need anything, just call me. After the manservant left, Luo Ning sat up and moved his arms twice. Girls from another world are too direct, that he couldn't help but shook his head and called up the system interface. He didn't have to wait until 12 o'clock in the morning today because it was already past. Today is the 7th day. Signing in will not automatically add attribute points, but will receive a heartwarming gift box. Luo Ning really wanted to know what this heartwarming gift box was, so she clicked on it directly. Attribute points plus 20, energy essence plus 20. Sure enough, there is warmth, but not much. It was similar in nature to the rewards he gave when he first wrote the plan. He glanced at the property panel at the moment. Level, 1 Junior Knight, 100/100, 1 Junior Magician, 25/150, plus. Attribute points, 50. Energy Essence, 220. This series of harvests was so great that the number of energy essences had accumulated to 220. Luo Ning added 50 attribute points to the progress of the Junior Magician, and suddenly he felt that the mana space was expanding again. After the consumption of learning Qingfeng technique before, coupled with the new round of expansion, Luo Ning will probably spend a lot of time refining his mana. The progress has increased to 75/150. I only need 75 more attribute points to break through to the intermediate level with both professions. For ordinary people, it takes 2 to 3 years to go from beginner to intermediate, even if it is a little faster. With Luo Ning's breakthrough speed, even the top geniuses can only feel inferior. After processing the attribute points, Luo Ning finally turned his attention to the 7-day login interface. Today is the 7th day, and he can finally receive a light attribute magician with the qualification of a 7th level great magician, as he claimed the reward for the 7th day with a thought. The 7-day login interface turned into a point of light and disappeared from his field of vision. From now on, there are only 4 interfaces left in front of him: monthly sign-in, attribute panel, achievement master, and first deposit bonus. Luo Ning estimated that after he completes his first recharge, he will only have the first 3 interfaces left. The moment he paid attention to the dissipation interface, the same magic circle as when he summoned McCann appeared on the ground in front of him. The white light is gorgeous and dazzling. If it weren't for the black tent blocking the light, it would definitely attract people from outside to watch. This summoning magic circle is so complicated, more complicated than the lines of the contract scroll. Luo Ning exclaimed. Judging from his new knowledge of the Qingfeng spell pattern, he couldn't understand it at all. The spell pattern of Qingfeng technique has only 5 nodes, and the nodes are connected by straight lines, but the magic circle in front of him is not like this. There are many nodes on it. If Luo Ning were to describe it, he would not know which node to start from and which node to end at. In addition, the route between the nodes of the summoning magic circle is not a straight line. It has curves with different arcs and polylines with different angles. which is very complicated. Luo Ning, who observed carefully, felt dizzy and an extreme pain rushed straight to his forehead. How can I describe this feeling? It's like an ordinary junior high school student trying to deeply understand and derive the Fourier transform formula. Fortunately, a figure that appeared at the right time attracted Luo Ning's attention. A thin man wearing a sky blue robe appeared on the magic circle. He had short gray-white shoulder-length hair. If he hadn't looked at his face, Luo Ning would have thought he was an old man. In fact, he is very young. Unlike McCann, who is burly and strong, the magician in front of him looks a bit delicate. He put his left hand on his chest and saluted Ronan. Elronfaol, I have met the master. May the light be with you. The tone is gentle and the tone makes people feel relaxed. Nice to meet you, Mage Elrond. Luo Ning also happily greeted the magician's subordinate and briefly asked about his condition. To put it simply, Elrond and McCann are the same in terms of past experience and language. The difference is that Elrond has a certain understanding of the principles of magic and making spell scrolls. Of course, this understanding is not very deep. It is about the same level as Pedro. Through Elrond, Ronan also confirmed one thing, that is, the purple crystal obtained from Pedro was indeed a magic crystal. In this way, he only needs to gather 5 more magic crystals for his first deposit gift. Immediately afterwards, Luo Ning asked how many magic spells the other party currently mastered. Sir, I currently master 2 spells, namely Flash and Invigoration. Luo Ning was full of expectations. Quick, show me how to use it. Elrond did not refuse. He first stretched out a finger, and Ronan felt energy gathering at his fingertips. He guessed that Elrond was carving spell lines. Sir, this is the Flash technique. As Elrond's voice fell, his fingertips lit up with a little light. The light is not very bright, just like the desk lamp used when I was a student, but it can illuminate the environment in the tent much brighter than a candle. Luo Ning raised his eyebrows. Other than lighting up the environment, this spell doesn't seem to have much effect. Elrond nodded. That's true, but if I have enough mana later on, I can enhance its brightness and use it to interfere with the enemy. Luo Ning nodded slightly. The interference the other party mentioned should be similar to flash bombs. Elrond stopped demonstrating the flash spell and cast the second spell. This time, he faced Luo Ning with his palm, and under the spell, a faint light fell on Luo Ning. At this moment, Luo Ning felt relieved all over, and the previous soreness was completely gone. His eyes lit up and he praised. This spell is very effective. Elrond continued. When I have enough mana, I can use this spell on multiple people. It is said that a powerful magician can use this spell to inspire an army. Good. Luo Ning was very satisfied with this auxiliary spell, but he was a little strange. Don't like magicians have healing skills. In his impression, the attribute of light is always linked to things like the Church of Light, and to saving lives and healing the wounded. Hearing this, Elrond shook his head. I'm sorry, sir, I haven't mastered this spell yet. Maybe I will be exposed to it later when my strength improves. Luo Ning immediately thought that when McCann was promoted to an intermediate knight, he automatically mastered 2 fighting skills, and perhaps a magician could do the same when he was promoted to an intermediate level. Wait a moment. He focused his attention on the magician in front of him, and soon, the attribute panel belonging to Elrond appeared. Elronfaol, Junior Maged Light, 0/150, plus, Ronan accumulated 220 points of energy essence, enough to upgrade Elrond to an intermediate magician. New. Chapter 24 Lake Town. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 24 Hushong Town. Luo Ning had accumulated 220 points of energy essence. The reason why he did not use it to improve McCann's strength was to wait for the light attribute magician to come out and upgrade him directly. To upgrade a magician from elementary to intermediate level, he needs to consume 150 points of energy essence, which is 50 points more than the knight's upgrade at the corresponding stage. As these energy essences were invested, Elrond's attribute panel changed. Elronfaol, Intermediate Maged Light, 0/300, plus. In just one breath, Elrond walked a path that other magicians might not have walked for years. Sir, I am. He was too shocked to speak. Luo Ning waved his hand. This is my special ability. Remember to keep it a secret. Do not reveal any information to anyone else except McCann. Elrond slowly recovered from the shock. May the light be with you, sir, I will remember your gifts and teachings, that this guy only said a few words before and after he said may the light be with you twice, which is quite a bit like a stickman. Okay Elrond, do you have any other magic? Yes. Elrond was very sure, after I became an intermediate magician, I had healing skills in my mind. After hearing this, Luo Ning beamed. He has healing skills, which is in line with the characteristics of a light attribute magician in his mind. How effective is the treatment? He asked. General sword injuries can be treated well, but more serious injuries may require several more releases. Elrond said, however, if the injury is too severe and touches the bones and internal organs, the effect of the healing spell will be greatly weakened. Luo Ning nodded slowly. Although it couldn't cure all diseases, it was pretty good at treating ordinary knife wounds. In order to see the effect of the healing technique with his own eyes, Luo Ning picked up the sword and lightly made a cut on his little finger. Bright red blood immediately flowed out, not to mention, it was quite painful. My lord, what are you doing? Elrond asked in surprise. Here, let's use healing techniques to treat him. Only then did Elrond realize that Ronan was trying to test the effectiveness of the healing technique. Sir, you could have cut my finger just now. That while regretting that he had not understood the master's intention in advance, he quickly placed his palm on top of the bleeding finger. Soon, a ray of light fell on the wound. Luo Ning only felt the wound was warm and itchy, and then saw it healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. From bleeding to scabbing, to being intact again, it only takes 5 seconds. Good. After seeing it with his own eyes, Luo Ning was even more satisfied with the effect of the treatment. He believed that with Elrond here, if the territorial guards were injured in battle, they would not be disabled or even die due to poor medical conditions. In Ronan's eyes, Elrond was like a marching doctor. The only regret is that Elrond did not master any attack-type magic. The uplifting, flashing, and healing techniques were all auxiliary. On the battlefield, Luo Ning was a little worried about their safety. After some more exchanges, Luo Ning finally had a more comprehensive understanding of Elrond. He came outside the tent, asked Chahar to get him some hot water and dismissed the manservant, and then brought Elrond to McCann. McCann, this is your new friend, Elronfaol. You need to familiarize him with the current situation, and then arrange camping for tonight. Remember, don't reveal to the outside world that Elrond is a magician for the time being. Just say that he is my friend. Okay sir. While responding to the order, McCann also looked up and down, and then performed a knight's salute. McCann Sally Tun, nice to see you. May the light be with you, warrior. Luo Ning laughed, then turned back to the tent to rest. There were no wild beasts to disturb me tonight, and it passed peacefully. Early the next morning, after breakfast, Luo Ning did not let the guards train, but set off at full speed to escort the Green siblings to Hushang Town. Hushang Town is on the way to Shanlin Town, close to Muma City, so Luo Ning is not considered a detour. Just like that, another day and a half later, Luo Ning and the others finally entered the Green territory. They set off on the 4th, and it was now noon on the 9th. It took them 5 days to get here, and the speed couldn't be said to be fast. Brother Luo Ning, follow this road for another 10 miles or so and you will reach Lake Fort. For more than a day, although Marina did not bring up the idea of entering the tent again, she still sat with Luo Ning whenever she had free time. Fortunately, this guy's twisted leg was not fully recovered, otherwise, Luo Ning might not even have any personal space. The scenery in Hushang Town is not bad. He complimented casually. Since entering Greenland, there have been more creeks and ponds on both sides of the road, and Luo Ning even saw people fishing in the water. Green water and green mountains make you feel like you are back home on Earth. However, as the convoy passed through Hushang Town, hygiene issues were still prominent. But this time Luo Ning was not surprised and would not ask silly questions like why the other party did not take care of the hygiene. The Lake Fort is not located on the lake, but like Wushan Fort, it is on a hill several miles away from the city. Although the castle's walls, wooden spurs, ravines and other defenses are not as grand and strong as Wushan Fort, they are all available. Before the team entered the castle, a group of cavalry galloped over and blocked the front. Stop! The tall knight shouted, with a strong warning tone. However, when he saw the Wushan family crest on the carriage, his tone became more tactful. I wonder which of the Wushan family adults came to Hushang town, that when a noble comes to visit, a servant will usually hand out greeting cards first. It was rare for someone to appear outside the castle of other nobles with no greetings and a convoy of troops and horses. "Uncle, it's us." Marina revealed her head from the carriage. "Miss Marina. Master Malik is here too." The knight was stunned for a moment, then immediately drove his horse over. "Why are you here?" Kane, who had lost his horse, stumbled from behind to the front. He cried bitterly. "Lord Andrea, our knight team was assassinated, and Captain Noel unfortunately died in the battle. If it hadn't been for Lord Luo Ning's rescue, the young master and young lady would probably not have survived." Andrea Knight's expression changed wildly. How could something like this happen suddenly? Considering the safety of the trip, he had arranged for a team of knights to pick up Malik and the two men, but he did not expect that the entire army was almost wiped out. "How are the young master and young lady? Are they injured?" Andrea asked hurriedly. Malik walked out of the car. His arm was still tied with gauze, but the injury was much better than before. "We suffered some minor injuries, but they are relatively minor. We will probably be fine after just 2 days of recovery." Malik raised his hand towards Ronan and introduced, "This is the Baron of Shanlin Town, a bloodline of the Wushan family, Ronan Firestorm. It is thanks to him that we survived this time." Andrea was freed from his worry, and he looked at Luo Ning seriously. In fact, what happened to the Wushan family and the Hyde family had already spread to the territories of various vassals in the past few days. Some people are secretly mocking Wiggins and Ronan. Andrea also scoffed when she heard the news, but that was a private matter. In public, he would still show respect to Luo Ning when he saw him, and would not easily get into trouble with others in terms of face. What's more, now Luo Ning has saved the blood of the Green family, his nephew and niece. Knight Andrea gave a formal knightly salute to Luo Ning. "Andrea says hello to you. I'm sorry for my rudeness just now. I really didn't expect that the young master and the young lady would be assassinated." As he said that, he bowed deeply again. "Thank you for your rescue." "Greetings to you, Sir Andrea." Luo Ning responded with a smile. "The Green family is the vassal of the Wushan family, and the blood of the Wushan family flows in my body. It is necessary to save Malik and the others." He paused and then asked, "I heard from Kane that Baron Hermann was injured in this battle. I wonder how his injury is now." Andrea replied, "Thank you for your concern. Lord Hermann's injury is almost healed." Malik and Marina were both a little anxious. They only heard that they were injured in the chest and were resting in bed, but they didn't know how serious it was. When their uncle said that the injury was almost healed, they were relieved. Marina said, "Lord Luo Ning and uncle, let's go back to the castle first." "Okay, miss." Andrea signaled his men to return to the castle to report first, and then turned sideways to make way for Ronan's team to advance. Ronan searched for information about Baron Gehrman Green in his mind. This man seems to have bronze-level strength, which is not low among barons. "I saved his son and daughter, what is he going to say?" New book bar. Chapter 25 Unexpected Hospitality. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. Chapter 25 Unexpected Hospitality. Under the leadership of Andrea and others, Luo Ning walked into the lake castle. Noble castles in this world are generally divided into 3 structures: inner, outer, and fortress. The outer fort focuses on defense. It contains strong walls, gates, fortifications, traps, etc. Many houses where servants of noble families live are also built between the outer fort and the inner fort. After passing through the inner city gate, you enter the inner castle. This is where the nobles usually live. The environment is naturally more than 1 level higher than that of the outer castle. Usually, the houses where noblemen live do not have much defense. Some nobles even like to live in houses made of pure wood. Therefore, once there is an enemy attack or the castle is attacked, the nobles will hide in the fortress. In addition, some important occasions are also held in the fortress. When Luo Ning just crossed over, the place where the Wushan family and the Hyde family were talking was the Wushan fortress. It is said that not only the finest stones were used to build the Wushan fortress, but there was even a defensive magic circle set up in the Wushan fortress. Once activated, even several golden knights would be difficult to break through in a short period of time. The scale of Hushang Castle is naturally not comparable to that of Wushan Castle, but it should be ranked high among all barren castles because the aquaculture business in Hushang Town is good and has brought considerable assets to the Green family. Lord Luo Ning, please wait a moment. Because we are not prepared, it may take some time for Baron Hermann to come over. Andrea ordered the servants to serve fruits and juice and then exited the fortress. Luo Ning sat on the chair and looked at the surrounding environment. The furnishings of this fortress hall are full of a strong aristocratic atmosphere. A tall stone fireplace stands on the left side of the hall. When winter comes, the fire will surely warm the entire hall. Luo Ning glanced at his chair. Although it was made of wood, it was carved with flowers, and even the front end of the armrest was plated with gold. This shouldn't be gold, right? That he picked it but didn't pick it off. The harder I try, the harder it will be. Luo Ning put away his little movements and looked at the high seat in the hall. The chair seemed to be made of pure iron, with complex lines and patterns, but he only recognized a fish in the middle of the pattern. In addition, a complete bear skin is spread behind the seat. Look at the huge and terrifying bear skin head. It must have been a powerful monster in life. At this time, Luo Ning remembered some past events of the Baron's family in Lake Town. Probably in the winter of 18 years ago, Luton Green, the last Baron of Lake Town, took his wife, son, daughter-in-law, grandson and granddaughter out for hunting. This is an entertainment activity that many nobles engage in, and some even enjoy it endlessly. But no one expected that on that day, a huge level 5 monster, a jungle bear, would appear in the forest farm that was not supposed to be too dangerous. Although there was a squad of knights to protect them, and Baron Luton himself was a senior knight, in that battle, the jungle bear almost wiped out the entire Baron family in Lake Town. In the end, only Gehrman, who was still his son at the time, survived, and he is now the Lord of Lake Town. Although this incident had a great impact on the Green family, fortunately Hermann's prestige in the family was not low and he was very talented in spiritual practice. The situation of the Green family gradually improved. It's just that his fate was unfortunate. 10 years ago, in the Knights Tournament, Hermann faced off against Baron Lesson of Thane. In that battle, Baron Lesson cut off Hernan's left arm. The relationship between the two families, who were already not on good terms, worsened. The broken-armed Hermann was depressed for a period of time, but was unexpectedly promoted to the Bronze Knight, so he got the title of One-Armed Lone Wolf. This should be the level 5 monster, the jungle bear, right? Luo Ning stood up and stepped forward to observe, but at this moment, a female voice came from the door. Nice to meet you, Baron of Hillwood Town. Luo Ning turned around and looked over, only to see a lady in a formal dress slowly walking into the hall. She bowed slightly to Luo Ning. Flavia Labor salutes you, thank you for your help. Only the blood of the Green family is lucky enough to survive. Flavia Labor, the second wife of Baron Hermann, behind her, Malik, who had changed into a formal dress, also bowed. Luo Ning felt a little strange. Shouldn't it be Baron Hermann who appeared in the hall? How could it be this mother and son? Although he was confused, Luo Ning still had the courtesy he should have. Greetings to you, Lady Flavia. Flavia motioned for Ronan to sit down, and then she and Malik sat on the chairs opposite. I'm sorry, Lord Luo Ning. My father's chest injury has not healed yet and he cannot move freely, so he cannot come to the Lake Castle to personally thank you for helping me and my sister. Luo Ning pretended to be surprised, then smiled slightly. The Baron's injury is serious. Outside the castle, Andrea told siblings Malik and Marina that Baron Hermann's injury was almost healed. Judging from the relaxed manner in which he spoke at that time, it was estimated that normal actions would be no problem. But now Malik said that Hermann's injury was not healed and he could not move freely, which is interesting. The first thing Luo Ning ruled out was any drama about the Green family competing for the position of Baron. After all, Hermann was the Bronze Knight and was responsible for the Green family's combat power. His death was a loss to the Green family. Moreover, Hermann only had one son, Malik, who was still young and could not possibly seize the title of Baron. That could only mean that Baron Hermann didn't want to come out to see him. Luo Ning couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth, showing an imperceptible bitter smile. The other party seemed to be doing this because he didn't want to have anything to do with him. Why is this happening? Luo Ning thought for a moment. The other party was so deliberately avoiding suspicion because he was obviously afraid that the outside world would mistakenly think that the Green family wanted to make friends with him. Being friendly with a person who has been disinherited will make people mistakenly think that the Green family's ambition is to support the new owner. After all, after the old Marquis dies, there is no telling what the situation in Wushan territory will become. Therefore, Luo Ning guessed that the reason why Hermann did not show up was to show the Hyde family. Lord Luo Ning, thank you very much for this incident. Mrs. Flavia's grateful voice interrupted Ronan's thoughts. Gehrman told me that the roads in Shanlin town are remote, the land is barren, and the resources are scarce. He specifically asked me to prepare a batch of materials and money for you, which can not only help you build Shanlin town, but also express a little gratitude to you from Fort on the Lake. Luo Ning broke away from his thoughts and couldn't help laughing when he heard this sentence. Express my gratitude to Baron Hermann for me. I believe that with his support, the construction of Hillwood Town will be faster than imagined. It doesn't matter if we meet or not, it's just a loss of face and people will laugh at me if the news spreads. This is not the point is to get something. Isn't this why he sent Malik and his brother home specially? Flavia and Malik looked at each other, and were both surprised that Ronan didn't show any displeasure. After all, it was said that Ronan, like his father, had a bad temper and often used swear words, but that doesn't appear to be the case at this time. Flavia sat up slightly and said, considering the poverty of Shanlin town, we will provide you with a total of 3,000 kilograms of grain. In addition, Malik said that your team does not have enough horses. We will give you 3 additional carriages, plus 5 ordinary horses, and 2 ordinary war horses. In addition, to express our gratitude and in case you need it, we have also prepared 200 gold coins. That the more Luo Ning listened, the more comfortable he felt. Although Hermann did not show up, their gratitude was still very sufficient. 3,000 kilograms of grain is not bad. The total of 10 horses should be 200 gold coins, plus 200 gold coins. The harvest from a trip to Hushang town exceeds 400 gold coins, which is very profitable. He couldn't help but stand up and bowed to Madame Flavia. Thank you madam for your generosity, and please also convey my most sincere gratitude to Baron Hermann. That he added, if possible, please exchange some of the gold coins for copper coins. After all, you know that in a poor place like Shanlin town, gold and silver coins may not be very affordable. Mrs. Flavia and Malik also stood up. You are very thoughtful. New. Chapter 26 An Unexpected Surprise. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 26 An unexpected surprise. That I in the courtyard of the castle on the lake, the Hermann family was sitting on a bench having a warm afternoon tea. Father, isn't it a good idea for us to receive Luo Ning like this? Malik couldn't help but express his feelings. He was very surprised when he heard Hermann's arrangement. Yes father, Marina echoed while eating her favorite fruit pudding. She had been eating bread and dry meat on the road for the past 2 days, which made her almost depressed, but she was still comfortable at home. Although the food in Luo Ning's team is terrible, he managed to save Malik and I. I'm going to ask the chefs to make something delicious to entertain him. The tall one-armed lone wolf put down the fruit plate and said, you are still young and don't understand many things. Although Luo Ning was deprived of his inheritance rights and was assigned to a barren and remote mountain town, Barrington of the Hyde family was petty. Very. Marina didn't understand, but Malik, who was younger, somewhat understood. Father, are you saying that the Hyde family will still avenge Selina? Will they also deal with Ronan? Gehrman shook his head. Not yet, Lord Rollans is still alive. But Lord Rollans is not in good health. If he is gone one day, it's hard to say. Although Ronan saved you, I am very grateful to him, but it is not a good thing not to be caught by the petty Barrington and take notice of him. Therefore, it is better for us to keep a distance from Ronan as much as possible. At the same time, Luo Ning's motorcade had already left Hushang town and was resting on the side of the road. Master, the Green family is so rude. The valet Chahar was still complaining to Ronan about the Green family's hospitality. We managed to save the heir of their family, but they actually let us take our things and leave without even arranging a luncheon. They clearly didn't care about you or Wushan. Yes, after Flavia prepared the supplies, she had the intention to leave without giving them away. No matter how thick-skinned Luo Ning was, he would not have the intention to stay for a meal. For him, it is enough to get the things anyway. Chahar glanced at the newly added carriages behind the team, pouting and complaining, it's just such a small amount of supplies, who cares? Luo Ning chuckled, what do you know? He was very rare for these supplies. Now after doing the math, he has a total of 488 gold coins on hand, which is only a little short of 500, for Luo Ning. If he wanted to complete the initial lavish gift and obtain the Sun qualification, he could sell a horse to get 500 gold coins, coupled with a magic crystal obtained from Pedro. It is completely enough, but he didn't do that. The money was all used to buy magic crystals. If he wanted to use them in Shanlin town but didn't have them, it would be difficult. Moreover, he now has two subordinates, McCann and Elrond, and he is about to become an intermediate professional himself. There should be no problem in settling down in Hillwood town. Sir, you have such a good temper. With the Earl's character, they would never dare to do this. Chahar was still angry about Luo Ning. Thanks to us, we've been taking care of Marina and my brother and sister with good food and drinks these past 2 days. Not to mention Chahar, to be honest, Luo Ning was prepared to have a good night's rest in Lake Town. He really didn't expect Baron Hermann to be so cautious, or perhaps timid would be more appropriate. McCann. Ronan called. McCann came over immediately. Sir, what are your orders? After leaving Lake Town, the guards' training continued as usual. Luo Ning ordered, in addition, I will mention your strength again, don't live up to my expectations. McCann was stunned for a moment, and then he felt the fighting energy in his body filling up, and he understood the meaning of Luo Ning's words. McCann will definitely live up to your expectations. Luo Ning waved his hand, go and digest this improvement. To break through from intermediate to advanced level, knights need 200 energy essence points and magicians need 300 energy essence points. Ronan considered that the current situation required a battle force lineup, and Elrond was a light magician, so he prepared to upgrade McCann's level first so that he could reach a high level as soon as possible. At this time, McCann's level progress has reached 70/200. Luo Ning calculated that if there was no income from other energy essences and just relying on monthly sign-ins, McCann would be able to become a senior knight by next month. In a small town, high-level knights have reached the ceiling of their combat power. Take the town on the lake as an example. Apart from Baron Hermann, who is the Bronze Horseman, the Green family does not seem to have a second Bronze Horseman. Their knight commander Andrea Labor is only a high-level peak knight. While Luo Ning was thinking, a commotion suddenly broke out from the guards. What's going on? Luo Ning looked over, but he saw a guard running over excitedly and kneeling on one knee in front of Luo Ning. My lord, my lord. I have made a breakthrough, I have awakened the seeds of fighting spirit. Oh, Ronan's face was filled with joy. He glanced at the magician and said, Elrond, please check it for me. Happy to oblige. Elrond stepped forward with a smile and poked the guard's heart with his finger. As his mental power penetrated slightly, he sensed the opponent's fighting spirit seeds, which were very weak. The guards were not familiar with this person who suddenly appeared in the team. They only knew that Elrond was a friend of the Baron, so everyone was respectful. At this moment, the guard who was kneeling on one knee finally understood that the Baron's friend was indeed not a simple person. He looked at Elrond expectantly, and the latter nodded, turned to congratulate Luo Ning. Sir, he has indeed awakened the seeds of fighting spirit. Congratulations, sir, you have another knight subordinate. Chahar looked excited. He increasingly felt that following Mr. Luo Ning was a wise choice. After the other guards heard this confirmation, they all looked envious. Extraordinary appeared among them. People say that to become a noble, the first step is to become a free citizen, the second step is to become an official, attendant or awakening to the extraordinary, the third step is to become a canonized knight, and the fourth step is to become a knight. The guard in front of him took the second step. Luo Ning looked at the thin young man in front of him, but his eyes were full of hope, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Very well, tell me your name and age. Sir, my name is David, and I will be 16 years old in May this year." The young man replied excitedly. Luo Ning's eyes lit up. He didn't expect that this was a young prospect. Sure enough, he made the right choice when he chose someone under the age of 18. "Good," Luo Ning was very satisfied. "From today on, you will be McCann's deputy. Your salary will increase from 2 copper coins per day to 30 copper coins per day." It wasn't that Luo Ning randomly increased his salary. When he left Wushanbao that day, he asked Hallwater. "This is basically the treatment for junior knights." "Oh my God, 30 copper coins." David was shocked by this number. He didn't expect that he could get such a high salary, let alone that he could become a professional knight one day. Thinking of his persistence during this period and the delicious food and drinks provided by Master Luo Ning, he was moved to tears. "Thank you, sir, woo, thank you, sir." David trembled excitedly and said, "It was your gift and training that allowed me to awaken the seeds of fighting spirit. As witnessed by the 7 gods, I, David, will follow you to the death from now on." "I see your loyalty," Luo Ning encouraged. "I also believe that being a junior knight is just your starting point. One day, you will grow to a point that even I will be surprised by. Guard officer, I will leave David to you. Train him well and make him the top combat force in our Shanlin town." "Yes, sir," McCann responded forcefully, and he finally had a professional knight under his command. When other guards, especially those under the age of 18, saw David's treatment, they were envious and jealous, and at the same time they were determined to train well. If Luo Ning had lied to them before by telling them that training could lead to breakthroughs, then David's true deeds were telling everyone that Luo Ning's words were true. Training really works wonders. As for is it really true? Luo Ning himself had some doubts. He is more willing to believe that David can break through, thanks to the recent food, and also thanks to the fact that David's talent is really good. At the age of 16, he awakened the seeds of fighting spirit and became a junior knight, with excellent qualifications. Now, I have 3 extraordinary beings under my command. Luo Ning felt a little high-spirited for a while. Shanlin Town, I'm coming. New. Chapter 27 Entering the Mountain. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 27 Entering the Mountain. Coming out of Hushang Town and walking northeast along the main road, you will pass 2 territories. One is Muma City, which is ruled by the Iron Hoof Viscount family. Muma City is famous for raising horses. Whether ordinary horses or war horses in Wushan territory, at least half of them come from Muma City. As an ancient family that existed before the Orland Empire was divided, the Iron Hoof family has a very high status in the Ozan territory. Luo Ning was planning to go to Muma City to buy supplies earlier, but there is no need for it now. The second territory they passed through was Marsh Town, which was ruled by Baron Rayson of the Thane family. The predecessor didn't know much about this family, except that the current Baron of the Thane family seemed to be a high-level peak knight. As the closest aristocratic territory to Hillwood Town, Thane territory can be regarded as Luo Ning's neighbor, and he was planning to take the time to visit. After passing the same territory and heading north, you can see the rolling hills. The mountains are not high, only 100 or 200 meters at most, and the slope is not large. It is just that there are many mountains and they are undulating in large areas. This is why Shanlin Town has inconvenient transportation and remoteness. Luo Ning took out the map, which only recorded the location of Shanlin Town scrawled on it. It was obviously impossible to use this accurate navigation. Fortunately, there was a path that people had walked in the forest, which guided them in the direction. It's noon, everyone, let's rest here first. Luo Ning asked Chahar to tell everyone to take a rest, while he stood on the forest path. Sir, the road into the mountain seems not to be easy, McCann reminded. That's inevitable. Luo Ning sighed, came to the roadside and squatted down, but there are wheel marks here, and obviously there are carriages coming out of Shanlin Town. Since they can come out, we can go in. There is no lord in Shanlin Town, but there are wheel marks on the road. This shows that in addition to people coming to Wushan Fort to collect taxes every year, the people inside also communicate with the outside world. This is normal. Shanlin Town does not have all the necessities needed for human survival, and some things still need to be bought. When we get to Shanlin Town, if everything goes well, I will form a hunting team to see if I can hunt the monsters. If we can get the magic beast skin, then Elrond and I will learn how to make spell scrolls. Now he still has 3 bottles of ink left by Pedro to make spell scrolls. If it weren't for the Warcraft skins, he and Elrond would have started learning to make spell scrolls long ago. Forming a hunting team was Luo Ning's decision after careful consideration. After all, if you rely on mountains and rivers to eat, if you are close to the Warcraft mountains, you have to eat World of Warcraft. The materials on the monsters can be sold for money, and the spell scrolls are a derived industry, of course. This is assuming things are going smoothly, and we have to wait until everything stabilizes. Elrond is willing to serve you, my lord. The magician responded respectfully to Ronan's proposal. In the past 2 days, Elrond has been the most leisurely. Unlike McCann, he can guide McCann in sword practice and fighting. At the same time, he doesn't need to train like a guard. When he has nothing to do, he can only refine mana, which is the most leisurely and boring. Elrond, who had nothing to do, could only read the books on the carriage and gain some knowledge. You don't have to worry about having nothing to do. When we get to the territory, everyone will probably have no time to spare. Luo Ning had the attitude of wanting to start a big fight. After all, it was his own territory. The mountains, water, and people all belonged to him. If he didn't manage it properly, it would be a waste. After a simple lunch, Luo Ning took the team on the road again. The mountain road was full of potholes and ravines washed out by water in some places, making it very difficult for a carriage to move along. For the sake of comfort, Luo Ning did not continue to sit in the carriage, but chose to ride a horse. If you want to get rich, build roads first. This is a wise saying, but when he looked at these undulating hills, although they were not high, they knew that building roads was a very huge project. If you want to build a flat road from Shanlin town, it will be difficult to do it in a short time. Luo Ning sighed, and could only proceed step by step, first ensuring that the carriage could pass smoothly. Elrond, do you think there is any magic or fighting skills that can open mountains? There must be. Elrond was very sure. Magicians use the elements of heaven and earth to cast spells, and the elements of heaven and earth are vast. As long as the magician is strong enough and mobilizes enough, I am sure that the power will be enough to open mountains. You have a point. Luo Ning turned to ask McCann, you are an earth attribute. Do you think you have fighting skills that can open mountains? Fighting skills use the knight's own fighting spirit. In terms of power, they are generally weaker than spells, but McCann also gave a positive answer. It's definitely possible, but it should be a little more difficult than magic. Luo Ning nodded. From now on, the road from Shanlin town to the outside world will be built by you. McCann, if adults need it, I will try my best. As the team entered the mountain forest, the weather became less hot, especially when the mountain breeze blew. The cool feeling during the rest was very pleasant. It's just that in the second half of the night, it gets a bit cold, and if there isn't enough campfire, I'll probably catch a cold. Fortunately, you can lack everything here, except wood. The road was difficult to walk. Luo Ning and others walked for more than a day before they finally climbed over a small hill and saw the town ahead in the distance. Luo Ning glanced at the huge stone on the side of the road ahead. The name of the town ahead was clearly written in red characters on it, Shanlin Town. We're finally here, he said happily. From setting off on the 4th to noon on the 13th today, they walked for 10 days and were finally almost reaching their destination. The guards also started cheering when they heard Luo Ning's voice. Many of them doubted whether they could reach Shanlin town safely at the beginning. Now Shanlin town is right in front of them, and they did it. This is a challenge and achievement for them who have basically never left Wushan City since they were born. It will also be something they talk about for their descendants in the future. Chahar, rest here at noon. Luo Ning smiled and ordered, let everyone have a full meal at noon and have a good rest. We will enter the town in the afternoon. Okay, sir. Chahar quickly made arrangements. Luo Ning turned over and dismounted. David took the reins and stood aside. Since this kid became a junior knight, Luo Ning also placed him beside him. The terrain of Shanlin town is not bad. It's not a mountain town like I imagined. Luo Ning stood in the middle of the road, looking up at the town in the distance, viewed from the uphill slope, Shanlin town is located in a plain area between mountains. Although there are hillsides in the town, they are not high. They are much gentler than the peaks they passed when they came. It is a typical hilly feature. I remember Hallwater said that after crossing the forestland in the east and north directions of Shanlin town, they faced the sea. The sea is also a kind of resource. If you can extend your territory to the seaside, that is also a rare thing. Looking away, Luo Ning walked to the road sign, which was the big stone. He patted the stone twice. This thing was not light. It weighed at least several hundred kilograms. "McCann, I have a task for you." McCann stepped forward. "Sir, please speak." Luo Ning pointed at the big stone and said, "When we settle down and have some free time, please move this road sign for me." "No problem." McCann looked at the stone. If he wanted to move it, he would probably need to use a horse-drawn carriage. "My lord, where do you want me to move it?" Luo Ning pondered slightly. "Just follow this road and move about 50 miles south first. Oh, by the way, if it's inconvenient to move it, just smash this stone and set up another road sign 50 miles away." Hearing this, Elrond next to him smiled. "Congratulations, sir, your territory has expanded again." You can understand what I mean immediately. Judging from the journey here, there is still a lot of undeveloped land in this area. Who knows whether Count Wiggins will recruit a pioneer knight to compete with him for land. First, move the territorial landmarks further away. If someone comes over, then they can argue with Luo Ning first. McCann, Elrond, and David, you are all extraordinary beings, and your observation skills are a little sharper than ordinary people. Pay more attention to your surroundings during your break, and report any situation immediately. Although he had arrived in his own territory, Luo Ning did not relax his vigilance due to his previous experience of being assassinated by guards. He couldn't tell whether it was his subjects or his enemies who greeted him. New bookbar. Chapter 28 Soldiers and Horses Greet Each Other. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 28, Soldiers and Horses Greet Each Other. In the woodland next to the road sign in Shanlin town, Luo Ning's team finished their lunch here and rested on the spot. After traveling over mountains and ridges all morning, the guards sometimes had to get off their carriages to push, and everyone was still a little tired, but when they thought that this long journey was about to end, their eyes showed joy. At this moment, they were gathering in groups, leaning against the tree trunks, resting in the shade, and chatting softly from time to time. A gust of mountain wind blew by, and the leaves swayed in the wind. Master Elrond, who was sitting under the tree in front of him meditating, opened his eyes and looked ahead, with a sharp light shining in his eyes. "My lord, I feel that there are people coming over there." Elrond reminded. Luo Ning opened his eyes suddenly and finished refining his mana. He stood up and looked towards the plain below the mountain. He could indeed see a group of people coming along the road. "It's just that the road is too far and I can't see exactly how many people there are." Chahar stood next to Luo Ning, looking out and said, "Is it possible that the political officer here discovered us and came out to greet you?" Luo Ning shrugged. "I hope so." He turned around and strode towards the area where the guards were resting. Guard officer McCann and his deputy David all followed. "Everyone has it," Luo Ning shouted loudly. After this period of training, all the guards stood up straight for the first time no matter what state they were in after hearing this order. Compared with 10 days ago, I don't know how many levels of discipline have been improved. The guards acted reflexively, but doubts arose in their minds. The Baron just told them to take a good rest at noon. Why do they suddenly have to train again? Of course it wasn't for training that Luo Ning called them up. "Pick up your weapons and gather at my place." Arms. The guards were stunned for a moment. They didn't need weapons to practice footwork and military boxing. Why did the Baron want them to bring weapons? Chahar and David were also stunned. They couldn't understand why the Baron would make such an arrangement. Among those present, I am afraid that only McCann and Elrond were not stunned. It was not that they knew Luo Ning's purpose, but that no matter what decision Luo Ning made, they would implement it unconditionally. Doubts were doubts, but in the hearts of the guards, Luo Ning had absolute authority, so they immediately gathered with inferior long swords, 5 rows and 6 columns, neat and uniform. Very good. Looking at the neat and orderly queue, Luo Ning nodded slightly. What will greet us later may be enthusiastic people, or it may be cold swords, so you are ready to fight. Hearing this, everyone present was shocked. What's going on? Is there still danger in Shanlin town? Luo Ning didn't explain too much. Now, in groups of 5, stand apart. The atmosphere of anxiety and tension spread, but they all knew that there were intermediate knights and a magician in the team, a total of 4 extraordinaries, so they did not panic too much. Diamond Suit. My lord, are you worried that they will attack us? Elrond asked. Luo Ning nodded slightly. I hope I'm worrying too much, but it's always good to be prepared. I swear to protect you to the death. McCann took off his shield, drew his sword and shouted. David also made the same move. I will protect you to the death. Seeing this, the guards raised their inferior long swords one after another. I will protect you to the death. Seeing this scene, Luo Ning couldn't help but laugh. It's better to have your own team. Time passed slowly, and the column of people was getting closer and closer. Luo Ning also noticed that they not only had cavalry, but also infantry walking behind. 28 people in total. Intermediate magician Elrond had better insight and determined the number of opponents. Luo Ning curled up his lips. 28 people came at once, including both cavalry and infantry. What are they here for? If he encountered such a battle when passing through other territories, Luo Ning would probably choose to take a detour immediately to avoid its sharp edge, but now he can't do that. This is already in his own territory, so how can he take a detour? Even if the other party is not kind, he has to deal with this wave head-on. The sound of horse hooves and footsteps gradually became clearer, and everyone's hearts were in their throats. Soon, the men and horses appeared 100 meters away. Luo Ning took the lead in getting on his horse and stepped forward, condescendingly, and led the team to stop on the slope. Beside him, McCann, David, and Elrond also mounted their horses, protecting him in the middle. When the two sides were almost 50 meters apart, McCann asked in a deep voice, "Stop those who come, tell us your name and identity." The sound was so loud that it shook the mountains and forests. The 5 cavalrymen on the other side who had slowed down all pulled their reins and stopped in place. A tall and thin man gently held the horse's belly and took 2 steps forward from the crowd. "Who are you people?" he asked coldly. "What are you doing in Shanlin town?" McCann responded in a deep voice, "The person standing in front of you is the bloodline of the Wushan family, the Baron of Shanlin town, Ronan Firestorm. If you are the subjects of Shanlin town, you should offer your greetings and loyalty to Baron Luo Ning." Bloodline of the Wushan family. There was a hint of doubt in the other party's voice, mixed with imperceptible ridicule. "As far as I know, Count Wiggins only has 3 children. The eldest son Ronan has just been de-inherited, his daughter McKinney is married to Sir Kabir of Brilliant City, and the second son Brayton is studying at Wushan Extraordinary Academy." He raised his eyebrows and spread his hands. "I have never heard that Lord Earl has a son named Ronan Firestorm." "What, an illegitimate child? You?" Luo Ning raised his hand to signal that McCann didn't need to argue. He held the reins with both hands and sat on the horse without being impatient. "They say that Shanlin town is extremely remote and barren, and should not be well informed. I didn't expect that you guys, living in the mountains, would hear about the fact that Wushanbeo's eldest grandson was deprived of his inheritance right so quickly." Luo Ning chuckled. "Then you should know that Luo Ning changed his surname to Firestorm, right?" The other party's expression changed slightly, and then he realized that he had accidentally slipped his words. Luo Ning didn't want to be verbose with the other party, so he just showed off his cards and said, "If my guess is correct, you should be the administrative officer of Shanlin town. Tell me your name. The outside world has belittled you as a fool, but when I saw you today, it turned out that I couldn't believe the rumors." The man did not continue to pretend to be stupid, but raised his hand and made a knight's salute. "Lord Baron, I, Prince, am the administrative officer of Hillwood Town, as well as the operator and guardian of Hillwood Town." Luo Ning narrowed his eyes and frowned. The title of political officer was given to him by Wushanbeo. But operator and guardian are obviously the titles given to them by the other party. Judging from the other party's tone and attitude, I am afraid that he has already regarded himself as the master of Shanlin town. That's why Prince came to greet Luo Ning with his troops and horses, and that's why he sat on horseback and talked to Luo Ning instead of dismounting and saluting. Luo Ning didn't know what the other party had to rely on, but it was obvious that the other party would not give up the throne of the actual lord of Shanlin town easily. Or maybe the other party is using this formation to get some benefits from him, the lord. Ronan glanced at the soldiers and horses around Prince. There were 4 cavalry, 20 infantry, and he even saw 3 archers. According to Lulans, the population of Shanlin town was less than 1,000, but it was a bit unexpected for Luo Ning to be able to provide so many people as guards. Okay, Mr. Priest, political officer, now you can tell me your purpose. New. Chapter 29 Administrative Officer Prince. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Second special, the 2 parties faced each other at a distance of tens of meters, and the atmosphere became increasingly tense. At first, the guards on Luo Ning's side were not quite sure why the Baron wanted them to get weapons, but when they heard the person speaking in such an impolite tone, they seemed to understand. At this moment, their admiration for Luo Ning deepened. The Baron was really a god. He could predict this situation. Political officer Prince was sitting on the horse. He looked up and looked behind Luo Ning. The number of guards holding swords was as he expected, almost 30 people. He felt confident. Lord Luo Ning, you may not know that I have been the political officer of Shanlin town for 9 years. In these years, even if the harvest is not good, even if we are attacked by the savage tribe and the magical beasts in Wushan, I can still pay tribute to Wushan every year. The hill fort pays a tax worth 10 gold coins. The 10 gold coins do not necessarily refer to money, the equivalent is also included, although it doesn't sound like much. In any case, it is indeed enough for a small mountain town with a population of less than 1,000 to pay so much tax every year. Luo Ning nodded slightly. You have done a good job. Wushan saw this ability of yours and gave you the responsibility to manage this town for 9 years. For the time being, he couldn't figure out what kind of measures the other party was going to take, so it wasn't a problem to praise him a few times. But now, the place I have worked so hard to run for 9 years has to be handed over to you, a notorious waste. Prince's eyes changed and became aggressive. I'm very dissatisfied. Why do nobles dare to take away other people's achievements so easily? Why do I have to give up my things to you, a loser who has been toyed with by women? He roared angrily. Why? Shut up. McCann drew out the long sword in his hand and looked at Luo Ning. Sir, let me go over and kill him. However, Luo Ning shook his head and signaled to McCann not to take action for the time being. As a time traveler, he somewhat understands the other party's mood. Although Prince has not been the lord of Hillwood Town in recent years, he is no different from the lord. Now it is psychologically difficult for the other party to recognize him as the master, but understanding is understanding. If the other party wants to occupy your own things, this is absolutely not allowed. You were sent by Wushan to take care of Shanlin Town, but Shanlin Town does not belong to you. No matter how angry or roaring you are, you can't change this rule, because this is how the world is, ruled and dominated by nobles. Do you want to? If you want a territory of your own, the first thing you have to do is to offer your loyal ministers to the nobles. But I understand you. Luo Ning changed the topic. As long as you dismount and accept me as your master, I will not hold you accountable for your attitude today. As long as you are loyal to me, maybe one day you can become a baron like me now. Maybe. Prince slowly pulled out the sword from his waist, but I have a better proposal. The atmosphere began to turn to freezing point, and murderous intent slowly leaked out. Say. Luo Ning said. Prince pointed his sword at Luo Ning. I can kill you here and then continue to serve as the political officer of Hillwood Town. Oh. Aren't you afraid that Wushan will pursue you? Prince laughed. On the way to Hillwood Town, wild beasts and monsters often appear. Diamond suit with just a junior knight and 30 infantrymen by your side, it is normal for you to die from the claws of monsters. Obviously, the other party also has Luo Ning's staffing information. It is believed that when he set off from Wushan, this information was already on the way to Shanlin Town. Luo Ning didn't believe it if he insisted that Prince had an informant in Wushanpu. A political officer in a small mountain town doesn't have that much ability, so Luo Ning was very curious, where did the other party get it? He looked at the few strong men riding horses beside him. These 4 people seemed to be extraordinary. Could they be junior knights as well? But a mountain town with a population of just a few hundred shouldn't be able to give birth to so many extraordinary beings, right? Luo Ning tried to trick the other party into saying something. Your plan does have some feasibility. But I think there are only 20 or 30 people on your side. Are you so confident that you can kill me easily? That he said and looked back. When it comes to the number of people, I have more people here than you. Huh, you are indeed as stupid as Wiggins. If numbers determine everything, then can your Wushan castle crush the Black and Gold Brotherhood? Can you crush the Hyde family? Prince looked disdainful, but the reality is that Wushanbeo can't do anything to anyone, that the more he talked, the more excited he became. Challenging the authority of the nobility and trampling on the dignity of the nobility was something he really wanted to do, and today he could finally do it. To tell you the truth, I am an intermediate knight myself, and there are 4 junior knights beside me. In the face of absolute power, you are no different from the sheep in the sheepfold. He was already looking forward to the fearful expression on the face of the eldest grandson of Wushanbeo in front of him after hearing such a lineup, but he only saw a flash of surprise on Luo Ning's face. Luo Ning was indeed surprised. When they came, everyone in Wushanbeo thought that there were only 1 or 2 extraordinary beings in the mountain town. Who would have thought that there were not only 5 extraordinary beings here, but also an intermediate knight? Wushanbeo's intelligence acquisition ability is really poor, and it can be said that he really knows nothing about Shanlin Town, but there is also a possibility that they have never cared about Shanlin Town. As long as they receive the annual tax of 10 gold coins, they can do whatever they like here. This is how a gradually declining aristocracy gradually loses its dominance. I still say the same thing, Prince, and the people behind you also listen carefully. Luo Ning regained his composure. Before taking action, I can forgive you for being disrespectful today. But if you still don't value your own lives to challenge my authority, then don't blame me, the new lord, for killing people. Over there, Prince's face had darkened. After being the owner of Shanlin Town for so many years, he had not heard such disrespectful words for a long time. Over the years, he has been looking forward to seeing the panic and fear on the nobles' faces, and he also really wants to win against them. But Luo Ning not only did not perform these things, but also shook the hearts of his people. He found that some of the guards around him really had a tendency to waver. After all, nobility was a deep-rooted concept in the hearts of this group of people. This group of people knew that they all belonged to the Wushan territory. We can't continue the conversation. Prince's heart skipped a beat. Archer, release the arrow. The 3 archers did not waver. To them, the nobles were illusory, but the political officers were real people who could give them a superior life. They quickly drew the bows and loaded the arrows, and in just 2 seconds, the bows and arrows came out of the bows. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. McCann took the lead and rushed out, driven by fighting spirit. The sword light on his long sword skyrocketed. All 3 arrows were cut off and fell to the ground with just one sweep. Prince's pupils shrank violently and his expression changed. How is that possible? Why do you have an intermediate knight? Now that the fight has begun, there is no need to talk nonsense. Luo Ning quickly ordered. Leave Prince to McCann, remember to keep him alive as much as possible, I'm still useful. Elrond, remember to treat the injured in time. Luo Ning pointed his sword. We have them all, kill them. McCann also responded loudly. Betrayer, damn. The sound of horse hooves was rapid, and McCann, Luo Ning, and David took the lead and rushed straight to the opponent's camp. Behind them, all 29 guards rushed forward. Only the magician Elrond and the valet Chahar stayed behind and did not come forward. Prince A did not expect that the opposite party would launch a charge, and the other party was going uphill. They were going downhill, and the terrain was not very favorable. However, now that the battle has begun, there is no need to worry about positioning. Kill! He roared angrily, and his fighting spirit burst out, quite imposing. On this road, a battle broke out between 60 and 70 people. New. Chapter 30 One-sided. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Chapter 31 Cited, from Wushanbao to Shanlin Town, the guards spent 10 days with Luo Ning. During these 10 days, Luo Ning completely established the image of a lord in the hearts of the guards by promising them high salaries, allocating them enough food, and training them in discipline and obedience, so when he ordered the attack, the guards all grasped their swords and followed the knight in the charge. The tense situation completely broke out as Luo Ning shouted "Kill!" The distance between the two parties on the mountain road was only a few dozen meters. As the horses galloped, McCann was in contact with Prince in almost the blink of an eye. The long swords collided, fighting spirit broke out, and the two people's mounts neighed violently. Under the huge impact, Prince's horse seemed to be in bad condition, staggering and about to fall. The owner of the horse did not expect that the knight in front of him was stronger than himself. He kicked directly on the horse's back, and flew up, leaping over the crowd, and landed outside the battle group. As Prince retreated, his men surrounded him. 2 knights surrounded McCann, and the remaining 2 attacked Ronan and David respectively. Mounting combat, Luo Ning and McCann had tried it when they were competing, but they still didn't have enough experience. Fortunately, the opponent's knight's level is not very high. It was just a confrontation, but the opponent could not withstand the power transmitted from Luo Ning's sword. A bit bluffing, too weak. Luo Ning is now a junior perfection knight. If it were not for the limitations of his characteristics, he would have broken through to the intermediate level long ago. The opponent is obviously still a long way from reaching perfection, so in a head-on battle, Luo Ning is no match for him. I already gave you the opportunity, but you didn't cherish it. The moment the 2 swords collided, Luo Ning pressed forward, and the huge force directly forced the opponent's sword to hit his chest. Luo Ning raised his sword again, and at the moment when the 2 horses crossed each other, he slit the opponent's throat vertically, cut the opponent's chin, and beheaded the opponent under the horse. New. Everyone, rush for me. After a successful blow, Luo Ning tightened the reins and shouted loudly. The guards saw that the lord had killed 1 person, and their morale was high. They quickly passed Luo Ning and rushed down. The infantry of both sides fought together. Close combat is dangerous and terrifying. Luo Ning's group of guards have eaten well, drank well, and practiced well during this period, and they are all very strong. On the other hand, the opponent's 20 infantrymen must have just ran all the way from Shanlin Town and wasted a lot of energy. In addition, because they were fighting on a low slope and a high slope, they were completely at a disadvantage. As soon as the infantry from both sides came into contact, Luo Ning quickly suppressed the other side. Luo Ning glanced at David briefly. He was worried about this boy who had just broken through to become a professional knight. Fortunately, although this guy was suppressed by his opponent, he could still hold on, so it shouldn't be a big problem in a short period of time. Then the key to deciding this battle lies with McCann. Luo Ning immediately turned around and prepared to help McCann, but before he could move, McCann repelled the besieging knights with 2 moves. At the same time, he jumped off the horse and rushed towards Prince, who left the battle group. Impossible, how come you have such a strong knight by your side? Prince was horrified. While screaming, he held the hilt of the sword with both hands. The fighting spirit on the sword rose, turned into flames, and slashed towards McCann. Luo Ning's eyes lit up. This prince was a professional knight with fire attributes. This skill should be a fighting skill. When McCann saw his opponent using fighting skills, he plucked the iron shield off his back with his backhand. He let out a roar, like a warrior fighting back. Fighting energy burst out from all over his body, and even the shield glowed with an earthy yellow light. Degree asterisk. Boom, the flame struck the shield and shattered into countless sparks. McCann blocked the blow with his shield. The huge impact forced McCann to retreat. He thrust his sword into the ground, stopping his retreat, and at the same time, earth attribute fighting energy was injected into the earth. With a sudden sound, a spiked earth spear sprang out from the ground, and when Prince's attention dropped after he made the move, it pierced the opponent's calf. Ah! Prince screamed in pain. He struggled to pull out his legs and tried to escape, but soon a cold sword was placed on his neck. Surrender, McCann said coldly. If Lord Luo Ning hadn't been kind and asked me not to kill you, my head would be on your feet now. Prince's eyes widened, completely unable to believe that he would fail and fail so quickly. Perhaps Prince's strength is not much behind that of McCann, but it can be seen that McCann's combat experience is much ahead of his opponent. In addition, the opponent did not expect McCann's strength at all, causing him to lose control of his emotions after being defeated in one blow. Only then was McCann completely crushed. This guy. Luo Ning couldn't help but laugh and shook his head. If it were him, he would never use a shield to catch the opponent's flaming slash. What if the shield broke? It can only be said that McCann is very brave in fighting and has strong intuition. Commander Prince has been defeated. Luo Ning shouted loudly. The rest of them put down their weapons and lie on the ground. You don't have to kill them. His voice spread far away, and Prince's infantry were stunned when they heard it. In just a moment's trance, Luo Ning's infantry pierced the opponent's body. After a brief one-sided massacre, the infantrymen of Shanlin town finally reacted. They dropped their weapons with fear on their faces and fell to the ground, wailing and begging for mercy. They no longer have the courage to continue fighting. As for Luo Ning's guards, although a few did not stop their movements and injured several surrendering enemies, most of them reacted and just clamped their swords on others' necks and did not continue to attack. The chaotic battlefield suddenly became quiet, with only the sounds of wailing and the neighing of horses. Seeing that something was going wrong, Prince's two remaining professional knights got on their horses and fled. They were not escaping back, but wanted to escape from Shanlin town along the mountain road all the way south. Still want to escape? Luo Ning slapped the horses but hard, and the horse screamed and galloped towards the opponent. It would be great if I were an intermediate magician. Luo Ning thought as he chased. If he can use the wind blade spell, he can definitely give the opponent one later. Fortunately, the quality of his mount was very good and it accelerated quickly. Even if the opponent was allowed to escape for 2 seconds, Luo Ning quickly caught up with him. Stay! His long sword struck the opponent's vest from behind, and the man was forced to turn around and fight back. During the confrontation, the knight, who was already in disarray, was scratched on the arm by Luo Ning's sword. He fell off the horse and rolled down in the dust. Luo Ning chased the other person regardless, and used the same method to intercept the other person. David walked up, placed his sword on one of them's neck and controlled the other, while Luo Ning controlled the other. So far, Prince and all his men were either controlled by Ronan's men, or lying on the ground and lost the courage to resist. David, you did a good job. Luo Ning praised. He didn't expect that this novice who had just broken through a few days ago would actually win the opponent in the first battle. David was a little embarrassed and said with a smile, Sir, actually I couldn't beat that man. But after the man heard your call, he threw away his weapon and lay on the ground and surrendered, so that I could get away. Oh. Ning raised his eyebrows. He turned around and saw that the knight who had just fought with David was indeed lying on the ground, very well behaved. Sure enough, he was still a man who knew the current affairs. As he looked around the battlefield, the magician Elron shuttled among the wounded, continuously releasing healing spells, allowing the injured and bleeding guards to quickly heal their wounds. Luo Ning drove the 5 professionals together. He came to Prince and asked with a smile, Is this ending a little different from what you thought? As he spoke, he waved to Elron, Cure his injury. I don't want him to die now. Well sir, you are so kind to the prisoners. Elron came up and pulled out the earth thorns on Prince's legs, and then threw 2 healing spells over. The blood flow rate has been reduced a lot under the treatment, but perhaps the injury is too severe and there is no sign of healing. Sir, the earth thorn has injured the bone, and healing alone cannot fully restore the wound. Luo Ning waved his hand. That's enough, as long as you don't die. Prince looked at Luo Ning with a pale face. I didn't expect that you would not only have an intermediate knight by your side, but also a mysterious light attribute magician. He gritted his teeth and reluctantly suppressed the anger of his failure. I never expected that the legendary eldest grandson of a good-for-nothing marquis is also a professional knight. Administrative officer, there are many things you didn't expect, and they are also very fatal. Luo Ning smiled lightly and said, I'm curious, who told you this information about me? Prince lowered his head, as if thinking about whether to answer this question. At this moment, the knight kneeling next to him and being controlled by David whispered a reminder, Don't forget your oath. New.